What's up? It's time for Punk Politics. I'm your host, Dave Thompson, here once again to remind you that everything is now drink with me. Donald Trump's legal problems ballooned again this weekend when Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis, don't do that, announced her team is ready to go to trial, having collated all the evidence she feels is necessary to secure a criminal conviction of the disgraced former president. Now, I know what you're thinking. Is this the January the 6th thing? Is it the Mar-a-Lago raid? Is it the Trump organization inflating the value of their assets so they can avoid tax? And the answer is no. It's none of any of that. This is to do with that time that Donald Trump allegedly picked up the phone, phoned Georgia and said, you need to find me 11,000 more votes. Just, I don't care where you find them from, just find me 11,000 more votes.
Hang about, how are you supposed to just find votes?
I don't know, just like magic them up.
Well, that's it, right?
Well, no, quite. I mean, not yet. Like, if you gave the Tories or the Republicans another term, I wouldn't put it past them that they deregulate elections to the point where they can just magic up votes, right? Never mind.
You bellend.
So, this all goes back to that fateful election in 2020. Now, Georgia had been Republican since 1992, and it was now looking like it was going to swing back towards Democrat. And that was made all the more shocking, all the more emotional for Team Trump by the sudden influx of majority Democrat postal votes. Now, the reason those postal ballots were so Democrat heavy was because the Trump campaign had done so much to demonize them. Like, if you love Donald Trump and Donald Trump tells you that postal ballots are awful, you're not going to vote by postal ballot, are you? Also, the same campaign that did so much to tell American conservatives not to vote by postal ballot did as much to inspire Democrat voters to vote by mail ballot. Because the Republicans had actually done quite a bit to stoke fear and intimidation in Democrat voters, with even Donald Trump Jr. suggesting Trumpsters might hang around outside polling centers. Which, look, if you're a Democrat voter in a red state like Georgia and you want to vote, right? You want to vote, but you're picturing yourself parking up, getting out of your car, walking up to the front doors, and there's going to be these bud-swilling Dixieland cretins at the door, aggressively waving Trump flags, like right in your face, hanging around outside the polling booth, hollering at you like, you better vote the right way in there. Like, even if you didn't particularly want to vote by mail before, you hear that stuff from Donald Trump Jr., you might reasonably conclude, yeah, I think I could probably do without getting love-bombed by NASCAR drunks at the entrance, thank you. And so obviously the mail-in ballots skewed heavily towards Democrat, but Trump seemed surprised by that. Anyway, so the election goes ahead and the Georgia results are counted and the final results come in and they are tight like a nun, bruv. And so then the votes are recounted. And in that recount, Biden, again, comes out on top. Then Trump's guys go, no, we want a third recount. And again, on that third recount, Biden comes out on top. Every time, it's always around 12,000 votes. And it is alleged that around the time of this third vote, Trump picks up the phone, calls the guy in Georgia and goes, you've got to find me just 11,000 more votes. Which, look, all of us have made stupid phone calls in our time.
Hello, Gina. It's Ron. I'd like to give things another go.
But I don't know if the stop the vote stuff had gone to his head or if he had always planned on mounting some sort of coup. But I don't understand how anyone in the United States of America going for the presidency could ever think that making a phone call in the middle of a vote count demanding that this person finds more votes, I don't see how anyone could think that that wasn't going to come back to bite them in the arse. Anyway, now the Fulton County District Attorney has said she's been working on this case for the last 2.5 years and she is ready to go to trial. Now, I don't want to overamp it or get all hyperbolic, but this court case has the potential for sparks to fly. And we know that because the court have requested crowd control and security measures to handle the area outside of the court. It also has the potential to leverage off RICO laws, which traditionally were put in place to be anti-mob, anti-racketeering. The idea behind RICO is that any or all or one or two of these charges by themselves in isolation might not be a big deal, but when you put all of the pieces to the puzzle together, well, now you might be looking at a significant jail sentence. I think we need to look at RICO laws here. I think when you look at the conduct and the performance of people like Boris Johnson, they're always dismissed and let off with sentences like, oh, well, come on, who hasn't enjoyed a bit of cake or a bit of wine and cheese? But would it really be that bad to pan out and go, no, it's not about the wine and cheese. It's not about a piece of cake. It is about a sequential dismantling of political trust and a wholesale erosion of the political discourse. You know, like, oh, well, who hasn't made a late night phone call and just tried to inch a few more votes for their preferred candidate in a general election? Like, I'm sure that stuff happens at every single election in every single country. But if you look at that as one piece of a great big puzzle, where you're looking at demonization and dilution of standards and confidence in vote count machines, and the voter intimidation, and the stop the steal, and the speech at January the 6th, and the abuse of campaign finance money to pay off an adult film star. Once you start putting all of those pieces together, yeah, maybe he should be in line for a RICO sentence. You know, you got to look at this stuff big picture. It's like, imagine if your husband forgot your birthday. Well, that by itself is not a big... I mean, yes, it's inconsiderate, and no, he shouldn't have done it. You shouldn't just let him off. But in isolation, as a one-off incident, maybe you just bollock him and then give him 3 days of silent treatment. Actually, no, could you make it 5? But if he forgot your birthday because he was coming down off crack that he took with his ex-girlfriend, that he bought with your rent money while watching James Corden... Oh, I'm just saying, when you take all the crimes together, like maybe it's a bigger and more serious thing. Anyway, how am I feeling about this? Well, let me just say this. I was suffering from a case of the Mondays earlier. And yes, if I'm honest, I was looking for a bit of a pick-me-up. And you can call me petty if you like. You can make accusations that I have a mean heart. But I'm just going to say this. Reading about, like now, that Donald Trump is facing the prospect of potentially 10 to 20 years in jail. Oh my God. That has been it's so deliciously intoxicating. I'm surprised America itself hasn't declared the schadenfreude of this a Class A prohibited substance. Because this is... I mean, America's drug laws are so draconian. The lightheaded feeling I'm getting from having read this is probably enough to get me a 20 stretch too.